Så då har vi besök idag av Linda som är från Montfort University. Vi har Jonathan som är från University of Portsmouth. Och så har vi Alexandra from University of Essex. So yes, so welcome you guys. Thank you for joining us. So I was thinking today it's going to be more like a panel discussion. So I'm going to talk about different, just ask you guys a couple of questions and then you can answer that and then we go through from there. So Ali and Jonathan, can you put on your microphone as well?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear everybody?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking I'm going to go from Linda, Jonathan, and then to Ali. So Linda, you work for the Montfort University in Leicester. So why, just ask you the question, why should we study in the Montfort University?
Well, that's the great question to start off with. I mean, we all know that choosing your university can be a very individual choice. And sometimes, many universities share the same subject. So if we just the fact that, for example, the Montfort University is a very big university, has around 24,000 students. So we do have over 300 subjects. So it's quite likely that you will find something at the Montfort. So let's say you found the subject you want, then maybe just moving on to the kind of university it is. So it's a campus university right in the city center, which could be preferable. So you don't need to travel between the city center and the university and your accommodation. Everything is in the same place. How much do you want me to go on, Kwai? Because I could talk all day.
I think there's going to be a lot of more questions that you're going to continue on that. So maybe just start with Jonathan, just like a short answer. Why should you study at the University of Portsmouth?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. So good evening. I think the main thing I would emphasize is the university's presence in the city of Portsmouth. So I would refer to the word unique. Portsmouth is the only island city in the UK. The university is the only one in the city of Portsmouth. So you really feel the university's presence when you're in our city. And it's a significant size as well. To the university, you have 25,000 students, which is actually over 10% of the whole city's population, which is something, again, that's unique. It's a bit different about the university and the city. So you have a really different dynamic at the University of Portsmouth. And out of that 25,000 students, we have around 5,000 on campus, which are from outside of the UK. So it's quite a diverse and multicultural environment as well.
Perfect. And Ali, let's hear your pitch.
Okay, so really, I think the University of Essex offers the best of both worlds to students. We're a lively campus university situated right on the outskirts of Colchester, which is in Essex. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. We have about 15,000 students enrolled with us, and we're actually fourth in the UK for our international outlook. It's a really diverse student community that we have. The campus itself is set in some beautiful parkland. It's over 200 landscaped acres that we've won some awards for. And there's everything that students need. So we have shops, a street market, some restaurants, some bars, a theatre, a cinema and a hairdresser's on campus, as well as a gym and a nightclub. We do say to our students that although they don't have to leave Essex during their time there, we encourage it. And the thing is because it's the safe campus environment, the students kind of have a choice. They can go into town, which is about a 25-minute bus ride away, which is incredibly lively. And so I think that's the thing about us. We give students that choice of being able to engage in that kind of town experience, but also in that secure campus environment. And we do also have a campus in Southend, and I will delve into that a little bit deeper later on. But our Southend experience is a little bit different. It's a much smaller campus situated right in the seaside town of Southend, right on the high street, so everything is on the doorstep.
Perfect. So just a little bit of each. That's good to hear. So I think this question is for all of you guys because it's going to be pretty similar answers, I think. So I want to ask, just to answer, because what is the advantage of not studying in London? Because we have a lot of students interested in London, but there's also a lot of people that know that London is a lot more expensive than basically all other city in UK. But what is the biggest advantage when it comes to studying in a smaller student city?
Sure.
Ali, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I think the thing about not studying in London, especially if you're studying away from home for the first time, is going to a smaller university outside of London. It's a great place to find your feet. Not only studying in the UK, but potentially studying in an English university for the first time. So I think it's a really great way. We've all been to London. We know it's huge. There's people everywhere. It can be quite an overwhelming experience for some people, despite, all the amenities that London has. And I think that it's nice to know that you're going to be in a smaller environment where you can get used to things. And especially in a campus university, knowing that everything is accessible and it's right there on the doorstep to help you. I mean, at Essex, everything is either 5 to 10 minutes away from, the accommodation on campus. So it's a real benefit. And London is huge. And as we've touched on, the cost of living is much cheaper outside of London. And definitely with us, I like to think that our proximity to London gives students it's the best of both. You have the proximity to London, which means you can get in anytime you want, but at the same time, you can leave again and take a deep breath and kind of embrace the more rural side of things.
Is there anything to add, Jonathan?
Yeah, for sure. I think each of the universities will have their own pluses, and we all, I think, with Essex, the Montfort, Portsmouth, and a number of others outside of London as well, you find they have more of an identity compared to some of these universities that kind of get lost in the abyss of London, huge metropolis. And so I think I found that at Portsmouth as well. I'm not from Portsmouth myself. I've been here 7 years, and you really feel the identity, and it's kind of its own place. And I wouldn't say it's for everyone, but it is the perfect fit for certain students. And yeah, I think in terms of Portsmouth, we're by the seaside, right in the middle of the south coast. It's only an hour to get to central London from our campus by train. But we have a much healthier lifestyle, I think, much more of an outdoorsy lifestyle compared to people going crazy in London. And we're a city centre campus as well, so you can get around everywhere within 5-10 minutes walk or cycle. And yeah, I think that adds to your personal well-being, your mental health, your experience, and how you feel in your time when you're at the university as well. So I think these are big benefits, and at the same time, you still have London on your doorstep. Finally, I would say the big advantage for all of our 3 universities anyway, compared to the likes of Westminster, Royal Holloway, etc., you're going to get cheaper accommodation. Your money is going to go further, and you'll just generally live a better life than you would if you were in the centre of London.
Linda, do you have anything you would add to that?
I mean, the only thing perhaps would be that as we are such a student cities, the students give lots of discounts for students, and they can get it, in restaurants, bars, but also in normal clothes shops and things like that, which is really, really helpful when you are a student. So everything is kind of adapted to student life. And I think also count for all of us, we are very safe. We offer a really safe environment for our students as well, which is a little bit more manageable when you're not a big city such as London.
Okay, so tell me more about the city you guys are representing. So if we start with perhaps Portsmouth, what kind of city is it? What can you offer when it comes to sports activities or sightseeing? What is there to see and do in Portsmouth?
Well, we're very lucky, Quang, with our location by the seaside. It's quite an outdoorsy place. So we do have Rotary clubs, the sailing clubs, water sports, all these type of things that students can get into. As I've already said, we're quite an outdoorsy place. So we have from football to tennis to Quidditch societies, you name it, we've got it. I would say there's over 150 clubs and societies. And if it doesn't already exist and you would like to establish it, then there is funding in the student union to do so. But as a city, I would say generally we're quite an outdoorsy place, which is good in the current climate with coronavirus. Of course, you don't want to be commuting on the tube in London. This is probably the biggest point we should have hammered home about not studying in London. Don't commute on the tube to your class. If you're in one of these universities outside of London, you can walk to class. It minimizes the risk of any type of virus being transmitted. So don't study in London.
And let's not forget it. You also is the historic dockyard, which is the famous where you have the navy from the UK was based in Portsmouth, right?
Yeah, that's right. So Portsmouth is the home of the British Royal Navy. We have the Mary Rose Museum there. We have one of Henry VIII's sunken ships in our dockyard as well. So there's a lot of history in Portsmouth. But on the other side of the coin, we also have is quite a modern city as the university has grown and diversified and kind of taken over more and more of the city centre of Portsmouth. So I would say we have both sides to see.
Perfect. And De Montfort, that's in Leicester. Where is actually Leicester?
So Leicester is only an hour by train north of London. So it's in the middle of the Midlands, as we say. That's the belt above London. It's a middle-sized city, so it has around 300,000 inhabitants there. So it's a great size, to be honest. There's 2 universities in Leicester. So we have a university student population of around nearly 40,000. So you can imagine how many students and how much fun you can have there. But it's very compact, the city, so it's not so spread out. So you have everything in one place, and our campus is right in the city center. But Leicester has a really rich history as well. It has, on one part, it's very big in for example, textile industry, shoe factories, and so on. And also was the home of de Montfort, Simon de Montfort, who was a very historical person back in the days, in the 1300, a lord, so very connected with the royal family. So it has a very, very rich history, going back to the Romans, actually. So it's actually really beautiful parts of Leicester with old buildings and so on. But yeah, no, the city has a very active life. Sports are very important for the city. You got obviously Leicester City football team, which were in the Champions League in 2016. It's going great at the moment in Premier League, so fingers crossed. But that's actually a football team that's done great for the city. But they have obviously a lot of the other sports as well, the typical sports. And as Jonathan said, we also have the student union, which is very important for all the UK universities, with over 100 different activities. And as well as in Portsmouth, if you would like to have an activity and it doesn't exist yet, which would be quite strange, but you can set it up. If you just have another 4 or 5 people who want to do that, you can do it. So, but this is a countryside. It's about 1 or 2 hours to the coastline. It's in the middle of the country, so you have a lot of fields to explore, and so on. It's beautiful.
Okay, so let's see. So you're basically from 3 universities. Leicester is the only that has a team in Premier League, from what I hear, right? So very proud about that. So what else can you see in Colchester? What makes it so beautiful there?
Sure. Well, first off, I just want to say I'm actually a Midland girl myself. So thank you, Linda, because you're describing Leicester took me right back to my teenage years. many, many afternoons spent there. But going to Colchester, much like a lot of places in the UK, we have a very long history, and we're actually the oldest recorded town in the UK. We were settled by the Romans when they came over and invaded England, or Britannia as it was then. And we're actually famous because Boudica, the Celtic queen, decided she wasn't having any of it and came and burned the town down. Fortunately, we've revived ourselves since then, although we do have some Roman walls, and now there is plenty to do in Colchester. It's not like a burned out shell, thank goodness. So Colchester, I'm going to talk a little bit about the opportunities at university, but I'm not going to go into this too much because I think my colleagues have already covered it really. We have a really active student union, which is great, and all sorts of different societies. We have a Quidditch society too. I assume that we must all play each other in the University Championship League thing, which is good because as far as sporting goes in Colchester, we can shout about our League Two football club, but it's not quite the Premier League. If you're a football fan, then you're more than welcome to go along and support Colchester Town, but you're probably not going to get, top tier football from us. What you can do, however, is set up a student society. We have all the different kind of academic societies represented, as well as all the interest societies. You can find a list of these on our website, but I am going to just highlight my favorite one, which is the Garlic Bread Society. They sound like great people. To be honest with you, if you're a fan of garlic bread, then top tier. However, Colchester itself, there's loads to do. I'm going to be totally transparent and say we are not a city, alas. We are a big town, but there's lots going on. So kind of in line with our history, we have the castle, which is dating back to the Norman times, as well as a museum talking about the castle's history, as well as the city of the town. There's a thriving independent scene with galleries, theatres, shops, restaurants, and loads of different high street names as well for shopping and entertainment. Pretty much everything you need is in Colchester itself. However, because of our transport links, so we're right on the main line from Norwich to London, and there are various main roads going out of the town as well. It's got really easy access to the town of Chelmsford, which is in between Colchester and London, Ipswich, which is just north of us. The really big shopping centres at Lakeside and Bluewater, Westfield and Stratford, and of course London itself. So if you're a shopper, if you like shopping, it's really the perfect place for you to be. I mentioned our nightlife, and we have our own nightclub on campus that I touched on earlier. This is called Sub-Zero. In normal years, when clubbing is a thing that people do and coronavirus isn't, ever present, this runs bi-weekly club nights on campus. So it's really affordable. It's a great place for our students to go. And of course, it's only 5 minutes away from where you're living, which is great. And then in town, if you want something a little bit different, a little bit of change of scene, you can go into town as well. Southend is a traditional seaside town. It's a home of the longest pleasure pier in the world, fun fact for you, and some really, really beautiful beaches. And again, this is really lively. It's got great shopping, it's got markets with local produce and vintage clothes as well. So a really good place to go if you're looking for, a one-off item. And the nightlife scene is great there as well. You get all sorts of comedians, live theatre, gigs, everything is in one place, which is fantastic for students.
Yeah, so thank you for that. So I think a lot of people, when they're going abroad to study, are quite worried about the housing. That's an important thing for Swedes, especially. What can the Montfort University offer for our Swedes when they're coming there?
Yes, so we are very fortunate because we have all our accommodations on campus or around the campus, and which is then also in the city center, as that's where we are. And there's so many accommodation profile that you can be looking at. So it really depends on what you like, but I know that many students would like to have their own bathroom within the room, which is most of the accommodations offer that. So basically how it works, I know in Sweden, we normally say a student corridor. In the UK, we say a student flat in a student hall. So in a student flat, you're normally from 3 to 6 students living there. You're sharing a kitchen, and then you have your individual bedroom. And you never share your bedroom. It's not like the US here. Here you have it on by yourself. And you can have then an ensuite, which is the bathroom within your bedroom. And pricing for that starts from around 110 115 pounds a week. So we always talk in weekly rent terms, but within that price, everything is included. So you do not pay extra for water or gas or electricity. So it's quite easy to start just to calculate the weeks you're studying during a year, and then you get an idea. So that's more or less how much that can cost. It's great to book that in early. When I say early, before the summer, it's great because then you can choose whatever you want. But we have about 13 different halls that you can book via us, and those are on campus. And then there is another 10 halls, if not more, that are also private, that are great, and are also around campus and in the city center. There's so many options that you can get. So it's really easy to find. Normally all the universities are really good at informing about this. So just put the university name plus accommodation, and you should be able to find those pages and browse around.
Perfect. And how about Portsmouth?
Yeah, very, very similar. I think Linda covered it quite well. Yeah, a similar deal. We have 10 buildings on campus where students can live in Portsmouth. In terms of the price, it's more or less the same, but I would say we have something for every budget. So considering the academic year, our prices start around £4,500 and then go up to about £6,500, depending on what the student requires. So some of our accommodation even have breakfast and evening meal included, and they're very new accommodation. So some of them look like IKEA showrooms, and they're ridiculously nice. So there's something for every budget, and then there's some older buildings as well that are a bit more standard, which I would encourage students to use and spend your money on other things. I don't think you should be going to university and living like a king or a queen in a palace, in an IKEA showroom. But yeah, there's something for every budget, which is useful. And again, just to stress, these prices on average, you will find they're about 30% cheaper than living in central London. And then again, commuting from said property to your class in the coronavirus pandemic, don't do it.
Yeah. And how about Colchester and Southend?
Sure. So it's, to be honest with you, it's a lot like what these guys have already spoken about. The majority of our accommodation is en suite, and yeah, there's really something for all budgets. So you're looking at starting at around £99 a week, going up to £160 for our newer accommodation. So really, yeah, absolutely something for everybody. One thing I did want to talk a little bit about is how we guarantee accommodation at Essex. So for students who are entering their first year of a degree, or if you're coming for a study abroad year, this is totally guaranteed. As long as you apply by the accommodation deadline, you've got a room. Everything is great. And then it's more commonplace for students in the second and third year, unless there's a reason why they need to be on campus, in which case we can accommodate it. Students tend to look in Colchester itself, and we help support students through all of that. So we've got a really great Students' Union housing office, and they have like a list of approved houses and approved landlords, and they can help students find somewhere for them. Yeah, I haven't really got anything else to add though, on top of what everybody else has already said.
Just to add, I think the Montfort and Portsmouth also have guarantee if you apply before the deadline as well. I think that's one of the advantages of studying outside of London, for sure. It's a lot more options when it comes to housing. So we're running out of time. I just want to add like one last question. A lot of the university have student assistance when it comes to employability and stuff like that. What can you help students regarding finding jobs, internships? If we're going to start with, let's start with you, Ali.
Okay, so we have a fantastic careers service on campus who will basically advertise jobs in the locality, and students will be able to go and look at internships, placements, etc. Obviously, if you're doing a a year abroad, sorry, it's late. If you're doing a degree with a placement year, there we go, we got there in the end, then you will be able to utilize our business school, because they're the ones that run the placement years and find placements that way. But yeah, our career service is great. And also, if you're just looking for something more local on campus, if you just want a little bit of extra cash, the SU is our, it's our biggest student employer that we have. And if you are looking for bar work, or if you want to work on campus in one of our shops or anything like that, then the SU will be able to help you find work there, and they advertise jobs all the time.
Perfect. And Linda?
Yeah, we very similar. We have a careers office or employability office, and they help with everything. So if you want to have a job in Leicester in a normal clothes shop or a cafe or whatever, they would have the means how to get that information, job portals and all of that, and help through the process. Also helping with what you need to be able to work in the UK, such as the national insurance number and things like that, how to apply for that. And on campus as well, we've got quite a few opportunities. You can work as a student ambassador at open days or all the zillions of events that is always happening. So that's something we share, I think, all the UK universities. And again, being a city, a middle-sized city outside of London, you're not gonna compete with all the people coming into the UK just to work either. So it's quite a great opportunity for students. And the office do say that students who want to have a job and is normally ambitious, they'll get a job. That's good.
Okay, perfect. And Jonathan, last words.
Yeah, use the career services. All of the universities have career services, and they'll help you to develop your CV. They'll give you interview training, run workshops, and make you feel confident, because a lot of our students going for these jobs, part-time jobs, internships, it's really competitive. And this might be your first time going for an interview. So we want to make you feel confident and give you the best chance, really. So all of the universities have these. Take advantage of them. International student ambassador jobs are fantastic as well, where you can work and collaborate with colleagues in the international office in welcoming guests, delegations, welcoming new students to the university. And it's a way of getting outside of your traditional networks. So everyone has a network of people with whom they live, study. You can expand your network around the university a little bit more by getting a part-time job, whether it's working in an international office or in a bar, a coffee shop, anything like that. It's all about opening as many doors as you can. And yeah, I think just take advantage of all of these opportunities. Portsmouth, again, I would say is unique because we're the only university in the city centre. So you're going to have less competition from the tens of thousands of other students from other universities, all competing for the same internships, the same part-time jobs. Yeah, don't go to London.
Okay, well, we're going to end it there. Thank you very much for your time. I know it's a short of time, but you just want to give like a small taste of how it is to study outside of London. And I think you guys made a lot of good points. I'm quite partial because I lived in Portsmouth as well, but I don't want to go into that too much. So far, it sounds great. And I know a lot of people have questions regarding Brexit and stuff. We're going to have a short seminar on that on Thursday with one of our Brexit ambassadors that's going to talk more about that. So please join into that later on. With that, I want to thank you so much for attending and you guys that talked. And the next on the schedule is going to be a small workshop, portfolio workshop with University of Portsmouth, another small university city right next to Portsmouth, basically.